Greetings and welcome back to Doctor Who Revisited, where I go through every single episode of Doctor Who from 1963 all the way up to 2022 and review them. And now we are on the final Patrick Troughton era episode, and arguably one of his best stories ever and one of the best Doctor Who stories of all time for a multitude of different reasons. It's the War Games. Oh my goodness, I love the War Games. This serial is 10 episodes of Doctor Who goodness. Practically a masterpiece in my opinion. I've said a couple of times that the second Doctor is not necessarily my favorite. He's actually close to the bottom of the list as far as my favorite Doctors, but that's really no slight on Patrick Troughton himself. It's just all the other Doctors are just so much better in my opinion and have so much other diversity of stories that they just outrank him. But that in no way, shape or form means that Patrick Troughton doesn't have the best stories. In fact, it's one of those Doctors that I prefer the stories to the actual Doctor himself, and the War Games is probably the biggest example of it. There's so much in this episode going on. I mean, there's a reason why it's 10 episodes long. So let's just get right into it. First of all, it's a war setting, clearly. I mean, you get that pretty much from the opening titles, where they pretty much changed how the opening titles is, with the name of the episode, the name of the writer/writers, and the number of the episode. And it's all just a all-out warfare. And just the titles themselves, the opening titles, they set you up for something big. They set you up for something special. Not only a season finale, it is a finale of a Doctor. So you know you're in for something huge when that comes out. So, I mean, first of all, it starts out pretty generic, pretty much like the usual Doctor Who type episode. They land in the middle of World War I, and they have to try to survive the actual scenario of World War I without getting killed or being shot as traitors or court-martialed or whatever. And right at the bat, right in the first episode, you start to notice that things aren't quite as they are. Like, they sow the seeds right in episode 1 to let you know that this is a little bit more than just a World War I story. There's some sci-fi elements taking place here and there. But you don't know that until several episodes later down the line, when some of these secrets are being revealed. And first of all, I like the setting. World War I is a period in Earth's history that isn't explored in Doctor Who enough, in my opinion. I mean, clearly, no arguments there. The World War II is the more popular tourist destination for Doctor Who fans, if you catch my meaning. There's so many different stories based around World War II, in and around. I mean, there's literally a pseudo-companion associated with World War II. And I'm not just talking about Captain Jack, I'm talking about Churchill. So there are a lot of reasons for the Doctor to keep going back to World War II areas, but World War I don't think has gotten enough representation in Doctor Who. And it was a much larger and more devastating war than World War II. Many people forget that because of how important World War II was to the history of the planet. So it's great to see Doctor Who revisiting that place in this episode. I wish they would actually go with the proper World War I at some point, but I mean that's just a pipe being long in the making. But in any case, so we're in World War II, we're in the trenches, the no man's land, anything you can think of, and there's something shady going on. There's something weird going on, there's some weird anachronistic technology happening that we're not supposed to know just yet. And then, very slowly peppered in, you get to realize how far this conspiracy goes. Like, these corrupt military officers with magic glasses that can hypnotize people and mind control people. They clearly do not like the Doctor, Jamie, and Zoe being there. They want to get rid of them, they want to take them out. They keep failing because, you know, the Doctor has some of the biggest plot armor and luck out of any other fictional character in the universe. But yeah, they keep running away, they escape to the Germans' camp, and you learn that in the Germans' camp, things are just as bad as they are in the British camp. And there's these pseudo-mock TARDISes showing up all over the place, and they start to cross from one place to the other with this large mist that sends them all the way back to the Roman era. And that's, I think, how one of the episodes end. So like, okay, so how big does this go? So there's more than just World War I here. There's time travel, actual time travel in this region that they happen to be on, and they keep traveling from one place to the other, and it takes a while before both they and the audience realize the scope of this episode, the scope of this story. It's one of the biggest stories in Doctor Who ever. It takes like several different wars. I can't remember all of them at the moment, but it takes like 6, 7, 8 wars and places them in the same massive battleground and forces them to fight each other out until they can weed out the best of the best of the best of the soldiers and form a grand army. That's massive! How did they even come up with that idea back in the 60s? This is great! And just, even the name itself starts to make more sense. The War Games. They're just taking different wars and letting them play out to figure out which soldiers they need to kidnap to build their grand army. It's great. It's massive. It is forward-thinking. It is Doctor Who in its finest. And then some episodes take place on the actual warlords' compound. We get introduced to the warlords. Such a great idea for villains in Doctor Who. I wish we got to see more of them in the actual television show, but through the events that happened in this episode, you can kind of guess why they didn't show up again. But yeah, there's some really great drama, and I just love the inner politics in and amongst those warlords people. Like, every one of those, even though they have a combined unified goal, they all have their own personalized agenda. Like that one doctor psychiatrist guy who's hypnotizing the soldiers. There's the security, I think that's called a security chief. There's obviously the war chief, which is later revealed to be a Time Lord. When you suspect a guy right off the bat, you know there's something off about him. There's something not quite right with the rest of the warlords. You notice that he's different right away by the way they're treating him. And later you find out that, oh yeah, it's because he's a Time Lord, just like the Doctor. And the name Time Lord is being dropped for the first time ever in Doctor Who. You get a confirmation of what the Doctor's species is 6 seasons in. And that's massive. I'm glad that they didn't reveal it straight off the bat. I'm glad that they kept it for this moment, because it elevates the reveal even more so. And we haven't even gotten to talk about the other Time Lords in this episode. We'll get to those in just a minute, but I love the constant back and forth cat and mouse game that the Doctor's playing with the other warlords, and the constant bickering between the war chief and the security chief. How Zoe and Jamie and the other human characters from World War I managed to organize an uprising against the warlords using resistance fighters from different wars all across the different battlegrounds, and making all these different leaders of these different wars join forces and unite and put their differences aside and fight together against the common enemy, the Judean People's Front, which of course is the warlords. This is what I'm talking about. This is Doctor Who at its finest. The Doctor is kind of known for not, fighting battles on his own necessarily, getting other people to fight their battles with his help. And that's really put on full display all throughout these 10 parts. And eventually, of course, obviously, they win. They get the upper hand. They manage to storm the warlords' compound. And of course, the Doctor does the usual second Doctor thing of seemingly switching sides with one people against his friends, but then obviously turning on the people that he originally joined on to go back and work with his friends. And of course, I think Zoe and Jamie are the ones that know that this is what the Doctor's planning to do. They know, they've been traveling with the Doctor long enough. They know what he's capable of. They know he won't sell them out, but the other people don't trust him. And I love that some of the people do trust him, the ones that actually fought with him all throughout the episodes, and some people don't. But the Doctor then uses his magic ways of persuasion to convince them to join up with him. There's very similarities to what he did in The Evil of the Daleks, where he convinced the Daleks that their machine worked on him. There's a lot of really cool Patrick Troughton moments. I mean, Patrick Troughton, I think, is on his A game in this episode. Like, all the different Patrick Troughton mannerisms that we've seen peppered up all throughout the other 3 seasons, they're all on full display in this episode. From the hidden charisma to the slight manipulation of people, even the sonic screwdriver gets the attention that it deserves all throughout the episode, and it's just a joy to watch. And I love the introduction of the warlord, the head warlord. I mean, they keep mentioning his name. They talk about it all throughout the 10 parts of the serial. That when he finally shows up, you know that the big man has landed. Like, the big boss is here. No chance for error. And then, of course, obviously the humans win. They rise up against their controllers. But the story's not over yet. Obviously, the war chief runs away and is shot in the back. And he only appears in like a novel later. I wish we got to see more of the war chief. And I understand some people think he's the master or an early version of the master. I don't. I much prefer the idea of him just being his own standalone villain. Like, I don't think every villain we've seen pre-master needs to be an earlier version of the master. I think that that just ruins both characters in my opinion, but that's just me. So yeah, no more war chief for now. And how does the Doctor get himself out of this? Like, how does he solve such a massive problem on his own, get all these different people back and wipe their memories of everything that happened, fix all these different timelines that the warlords broke? He can't. He realizes that he can't, so he fixes the problem the only way he can, much to his downfall in a way. He summons the Time Lords. He sends out a message to the Time Lords. Well, that's where we get introduced to this little message cube that he sends to the Time Lords that was later brought back again in the Matt Smith era. And we get to see the Time Lords finally in their proper appearance. And obviously the Doctor has to run away before Time Lords get back, because, you know, if they know that he's there, they can find him. So we get this whole entire episode dedicated just running away from the Time Lords with the Doctor, Zoe, and Jamie, which ultimately is to no avail. And I love that the whole last part of this serial is entirely dedicated to this cause of running away from the Time Lord. It's still connected to the rest of the war games at large, but it mostly takes place on Gallifrey, even though we don't know that it is Gallifrey yet at that point. We don't know the name. We don't get to see much of the planet itself, but we get to see the Time Lords in their full power and their full potential. And what they do to the warlords is frightening. I mean, we finally get to see proper Time Lords, and we know why the Doctor ran away from them. We know why he fears them so much and why he was so afraid of being captured again, because he didn't want what happened to the warlords to happen to him. And he wanted to protect Jamie and Zoe, and they tried to run away and escape, ultimately to no avail. Time Lords eventually catch up to them, and we get some of the most emotional, devastating, and heartbreaking departures for companions of all time. The Time Lords take Zoe and Jamie back to their own times and wipe their memories of everything that happened with the Doctor past their first adventure. And it's just so sad. They're some of the best companion combos ever, and the adventures that they had together, they're all lost. Like, I know that it's a concept that's been revisited in other Doctor Who companions since, but this is really the first that a companion was forced to forget about the Doctor. And it's tragic. There's so much tragedy in this departure, and it's so sad, and the Doctor doesn't tell them a word because he knows they won't remember anything, and it's just the goodbye that he gives them, and then he turns to one of the Time Lords and he's like, "They're not gonna remember me, are they?" No. Well, and it's but I mean, at least we get to see that they made it back safely, that they're now living their lives the way that they should, and, you know, just existing. Now, obviously, Zoe and Jamie have come back numerous different times through other means, but sadly, every single time they had to hit the mind wipe button again and wipe their memories all over again. And just so sad that the Doctor does remember them, but they they never can, which is just, it's a bummer. But then you don't even have the time to get over that. The episode sucker punches you again even further with the idea that the Doctor is now exiled on Earth, and this is probably the ballsiest move made in Doctor Who ever. One of, if not the most ballsiest move ever, certainly of that era, because after 6 long seasons of traveling from one planet to the other, from one time period to the next, we're now getting introduced to the idea that, yeah, the Doctor is stuck now. The Doctor can't go anywhere. This is arguably the biggest change to the format of the show that the show's ever experienced. No more space travel, no more going through history. The Doctor is stuck on one place, on one planet, for as long as the Time Lords deem proper, as they say. And this has brought so many different changes to the show, and just to how the show would be managed in the next couple of years. And it's something that did take a couple of seasons for the Doctor to get over. And even the Doctor knew that he didn't want that to happen to him, but he didn't have much of a choice because the Time Lords really had all the aces. And then they throw another bomb shell on you by saying that the Doctor will now regenerate again. So he's not going to spend the next couple of seasons as the second Doctor, Patrick Doctor, running around in the one place on Earth that they decided. He's going to be another Doctor. He's going to regenerate into another Doctor, which we don't even get to see who that is by the end of the episode. I mean, it's not, even though this is a regeneration episode, you don't really get a proper regeneration by the end of the episode because we don't get to see who the Doctor regenerates into. And I do think that the regeneration effect that they give us in the episode is a little wonky. It's definitely a product of its time. Not the best regeneration scene in and of itself, but the implications and the ramifications and the consequences of what happens in this episode affect the rest of the show for several years now. In my opinion, this might actually be my favorite regeneration episode. Not necessarily for the regeneration itself, but just how big and massive the episode itself is, the story itself is, I should say, and of course how it affected the show. It's definitely one of the biggest regeneration episodes ever, and one of the biggest episodes of Doctor Who of all time. Now, obviously this is the end of the Doctor. I have enjoyed this rewatch of the second Doctor. I have grown much more appreciation for the second Doctor. He's still relatively low on my list, but again, that's not because he was a bad Doctor, it's because all the other Doctors are just so much better that he, unfortunately, by process of elimination, he has to be near the bottom. But that in no way, shape, or form means that I did not enjoy his rewatch, and that I don't look forward to revisiting all of his stuff again. I do, I certainly do. It's just, you know, the stories were better than the Doctor, in my opinion. But that's my take on it. What do you think about this massive explosion of a story for the final of the second Doctor era? Let me know in the comments below what you think about this story, and let me know what you think. Who do you think, or rather, what was the best Patrick Troughton era episode in your opinion? That is all I can say for now. So until the next time, everyone, stop! You're making me giddy! No! 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 Hi there! Thank you for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. I'll see you next time.